And we're live here. Stick to the script, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Here with Fontaine yet again. Another episode here in 2024. We've been cooking up. Last episode was very good. We had Gianna for a portion of it. Talked new generation slang. We talked about some first dates right afterwards. The podcast's been rolling. So Tane, what's good, man? We're in February now, so you're clear of no, what is it? Dry January. There we go.
Yeah, dry January. Yeah, that was it was interesting, you know. I mean, it was something to do, I guess, but I mean, yeah, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want a beer this weekend or like 8 beers.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where it's February. Tess and I, expecting our child around the 16th. Hopefully, that's the induction date. So I got to chill out as well. So I won't be partying too much or drinking too much. And it's flying in out of nowhere. I knew as soon as February hit that it was like baby time.
Gonna come quick. Yeah, it's gonna come quick. Time for a little break. Nothing wrong with that, man.
No, and we were talking before the podcast. I feel like I remember how to do everything. It's just like I feel like I'm have the anxiety of like, all right, it's my night to like be on baby duty, and I'm gonna be trying to sleep, but also like worried that the baby's breathing and like okay and all this stuff. I'm gonna have to be used to that, like yet again. You've been there.
Absolutely. It's a process, like it's a process at the end of the day. But I mean, all those things, I feel like they're just stuff that you get used to. You don't really have to worry about these kids, as much as we kind of lead on. But obviously, you just have to, making sure that they're breathing is a big part of that.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Make sure nothing's covering their face.
Yeah, it's just like, are they good? Are they good? Are they good? Like, they're good.
It's not out of the nose. Don't fucking drop the kid. Yeah, sure. And then after that, you pretty much golden. Could drive a car in like a week.
For sure. And Tess is a professional when it comes to that stuff. So I think we're in good hands. But if you're tuning in, we're going to talk about some interesting topics here today that we've been planning out for the last week or so. Tell your friends we're live. If you want to comment, I'm going to make sure I'm looking everywhere for comments. We'll talk to anybody who wants to drop in and say something, but stick with us here. Stick to the script. Let's get it. I'm sticking to the script. All right, so you and I, we always go back and forth. We're like, what are we going to talk about this week? And the first thing that kind of came to mind for me, just because I saw something recently, I read an article and it talked about loyalty. And it got me thinking a little bit about like this generation and, dating and marriages and, relationships in general when it comes to loyalty. I think it's a slept on topic. So I'm going to come out spicy right away and say, it's good for a lot of relationships. It's great in a lot of them too, but in this generation, is loyalty a dying attribute? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I can necessarily. I don't think I can really say that it's a dying attribute because I don't. First of all, I don't really have much knowledge as to what a lot of these kids are doing. In this era, like as of right now, we're in the clout chasey era. So you have a lot of these kids that are focused on going viral. They want to do stuff for the clicks, for the likes, stuff like that. What was Gianna saying the last episode? It was do it for something. It was like do it for the plot.
Do it for the plot. Yeah, we know this stuff now. We know these terms now. And if you're like younger listening to this show, Tane and I know all your slang. I mean, we probably did 9 out of 10, 90%. I'd say
easily.
But yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Steph Curry at the free throw line.
Yes,
but
sir.
That's so with that being said, you have so many of these kids, trying to create these moments, and I feel like you can get yourself in situations to where you're taking friendships and you're taking your integrity for granted for the sake of these likes and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like that's more so of what could be going on in their generation. But I mean, but I don't know if that's something that actually is affecting us per se,
Yeah. I think it's interesting to just see that like times have changed, and well, again with loyalty, like you're kind of talking about how like people have maybe a social agenda and things like that. I think
Yes.
that gets in the way when it comes to relationships at times. I think that because of some of these of how dominant the social media, just the day and age it is, that it interferes with loyalty when it comes to to relationships. And I think when I talk about loyalty, a lot of people think that like I'm talking about cheating, and I don't think loyalty is necessarily just like
No.
cheating in a relationship. I think
Yeah.
loyalty goes well beyond that. I think loyalty, when I
Mhm.
think of loyalty in a relationship, it's putting your partner first, right? I think it's not seeking attention from other people,
Mhm.
in whatever sort of relationship with. If you're a guy with
Yeah.
a girl, you're not looking for attention from girls. If you're a guy with a girl with a guy, you're not looking for attention from other guys. If you're,
Yes.
this and that, we can go down the list for every single pairing that you can possibly
Absolutely.
have. It's 2024 now. I think it's also not giving other people the time of day.
Yes.
There's you mentioned the social aspect. I think you see all the time these people that are like in the DMs, but they're in a relationship. They're in the
Oh, for
DMs,
sure.
but they're
Yeah.
married. Like you go down the list, and I think that's when I look at loyalty as. I don't look at it as just like, oh, they slept with someone else while they were with somebody. I think it's just
Mhm.
like a lot of other aspects of being true to your partner. And I feel like there's a lot of great relationships out there, but I think like just being loyal to one another, that's what I feel like is kind of dying in this next generation of wave in some instances.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I feel like there's some gray area within situations. I think it really, a lot of people, I feel like the definitions of what that word actually means,
Yeah.
is what people can kind of get confused. I would think what it means to me is really just stand down for the people that are down for you. You know what I mean? The people that treat you good, treat you with respect. They don't make you compromise your integrity, anything like that. They don't use you, like they have genuine care for you. And if you have a good relationship, that's it. But you know the people out there but the people out there that think like, oh, you're disloyal because you went out and you made some new friends. It's like
Mhm.
that's not what that is. Like, as an adult, sometimes your friends that you started out with at one point in your life, that you thought were going to be around forever, they might not end up being the people that you hang out with at down the line. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes some things change. You meet new people, you build new relationships depending on where you're at in life, and you can grow apart with these other people. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not loyal or that you don't have love for that person anymore. You could just be at two completely different places in life, and now all of a sudden it's tough for you. Not necessarily like it's tough for you to see eye to eye, but it's tough for you guys to click the same way or to even hang out the same way that you used to. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
I've had some friends that would kind of feel a certain way if it's like, if I'm prioritizing, like time to go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with Nick and his people and go do this or whatever. And if it's like, oh, okay, like you got new friends, like this is like, this is your new friend. It's like, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like, so anybody that's making you feel negative for making new friends, like, yeah, obviously, that can be that it's kind of I'm not gonna lie, there is kind of a thin line to it. Now, if you're completely ghosting the people that care about you once you start hanging out with somebody else, like, that's different. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It is perfectly fine to make new friends and to hang out with new friends. That doesn't mean that you're a disloyal person. But that's
Yeah.
obviously one aspect of that. This is a topic that we could talk about for hours,
Yeah, because I think we went two different routes too. I think I was kind of bringing up relationships is like your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband,
Yes.
wife. I think you're talking friendships too, and I
Yes.
think it is a topic that can go in a lot of different routes. And to piggyback off of your friendship thing, this past weekend, you, me, my parents, Chavez, Martin, we all got together, right? We all got
Hmm.
together, and Chavez is a guy I haven't seen in a very long time. And I've never looked at him because of that, like a guy that's not a loyal friend. Just because we are on
Right.
two different schedules, we don't live super close to each other. I've
Yeah.
never looked at it, him like, man, when I'm looking at my friends and loyalty to friendships, he's not loyal because I haven't seen him in a while. No, it's not necessarily like that. I think that you can go a duration of time without seeing somebody, and I when I was with him over the weekend, you were there. Like it felt like I was with him, the last couple weeks. It didn't feel
Exactly.
like the last time I didn't see him was six months ago. It's not like
Exactly.
it's not like he did something to where he betrayed my friendship or he was a bad friend or he did
Right.
something that negatively impacted me. It's just that we're on different schedules, and
That's it.
we don't miss a beat at the end of the day. It doesn't mean he's not a loyal friend, and I think that's something that you kind of gotta weigh out and understand as you get older and you have a wife or a husband and you have kids, and
Yes.
you
I
have
think
different stages of life, and you can weigh out like, hey, is this person still my friend at the end of the day?
right.
Are they not a good? I mean, you can just weigh it out, but I think maturity is kind of understanding how to differentiate different things like that.
Absolutely. And I think this is also a good topic, for the young kids that are that could be going through this right now. Cause I got younger cousins, and I have, just, some younger people in my life that, they could be going through these transitional periods where it's like you might not be as tough with one of your guys as you used to be. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Now, if you can still have unless that person did something shady to you to where you fell off, then all it takes is for you to reach out and to see if the energy is still there. And I mean, that's it. Like, you don't have to take it as, this person is growing or meeting new people, or, if they're busy and your schedules aren't lining up, you don't have to take that as like, oh, okay, we're just not friends again. Like,
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
a lot of, and here's another thing. A lot of people get really butthurt when friends can't make the time. There has to be like some kind of, understanding there as well. When you get to the age that we're at, like you have kids, you have other responsibilities, you have work, you have all these different things, to where, you're going to have to spread your time out as best you can,
Yeah.
and sometimes your friends, your friendships, they're going to have to go on the back burner in certain
Mhm.
moments, and you miss certain things. Like, yeah, there's girls out here, they're cutting friends off for missing birthday dinners. Like,
Yeah.
that's a real thing. That's a
I
real
lost a
thing.
friend that way not too long ago.
Did you?
Yeah, cut me off because I couldn't make a birthday dinner.
See, like, and look, and I'm not trying to laugh, but it's like,
Don't, because that wasn't serious. But what if it was?
oh, I was like, hey, no way. I was like, who? I was like, who did that? But look, it's one of those things where it's like, I get it. You want the people that you care about that are in your life to be there for you in these moments, but sometimes people can't. You can't hold that against that person. If that person has love for you, accept it for what it is, and forgive that person, man. And you ladies, stop cutting these girls off for not making it to your birthday dinners. Okay. Like, what if she didn't have it? She didn't have the money to go to Maestro's that night. She didn't have the money for the $200 tomahawk. She can't even eat a steak that big.
I don't even know what that place is, but I agree with what Fontaine is saying with this. But I do think loyalty as a general topic is defined in many different ways, whether it's like what I was talking about in the beginning, relationships or friendships, like what Tane was getting into. I think it's defined differently, but I think it's something slept on at the end of the day and needs to be a little bit more understood. You talked a little bit about friendships and like, the younger generation on social media and stuff. We grew up in a generation. I don't even know if I want to keep using generation. We grew up in a weird time because when we were very young, there wasn't social media, and then like there kind of was, and then like there kind of is, and then more people were getting into it, and now we're at the times where social media is like king. But there was a point growing up where social media was like not really a thing. It wasn't
all
really
new. Yep.
Yeah, it was new. We were growing up. If you look at our era, it was an era of like the snowball of the social media, like starting to roll and get
Exactly.
bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes.
So it's interesting because some people, like kids these days, right? Kids these days, they were born into a world that social media is dominant. You know, we were not.
Yes.
Our parents were not at all. They had to like learn everything, and you know, learning stuff at an older age is hard.
Oh, yeah.
But social media can be consuming and all those things. When it comes to social media, do you find yourself like taking breaks from it? Do you have a certain viewpoint about, you know, impacts on yourself? I know people can get very consumed. Some people kind of shy away from it. Some people, you know, try to be consistent with their time spent on it. What's your view there? Do you take like breaks? What's up with it?
I mean, so I guess I don't necessarily like, yes. So I've definitely yes, I've taken breaks in the past. Like I've definitely have had moments where, you know, I deleted the Facebook app off of my phone, log out, delete the app off of my phone. I haven't done that in a couple years. You know, I think the last time that I did that was maybe like somewhere in like 2019, somewhere in there, you know, but I've had these long spurts where I would delete the app, and it's like, dude, I can't even lie, you feel better. You know, you feel better when you have less social media to look at, whether if it's one platform or two platforms. I've had times where I've deleted the Twitter app off of my phone, you know, and I feel like, see, I don't know, like, and this is a very good conversation because we're obviously a part of that generation. Like, we remember what it's like to have a house phone. Right, like these kids a lot of these kids these days, and it's like, man, I feel like they're
like, what is a house phone?
Man, it's like, it's
one cell phone.
Like, fuck, they think that we're dinosaurs. It's like, it's not even a cell phone. This thing can't leave. Like, it's on
the wall. It's on the wall, and you don't know who's calling.
Yeah, and then even then it's like when we got the wireless house phones, it was like, the wireless house phone. What? I could take
Caller ID came out of nowhere, and you're like, wait a second. We're not answering that because it's a bill collect. It's ComEd or something like that.
Exactly. That's
you see it's your 5th grade girlfriend's like parents' number, and you're like, oh, like don't let mom or dad pick that up, and then they're on the other line still listening the whole time. Yeah,
on the line, listening to the phone call. You know, those were the days, man. It was a different era. It was a different era, and just like something that these generations just don't understand. But anyway. To break it down for you guys really quickly, to piggyback off of what Nick said, you had one phone, okay, and you had to designate the phone to whoever. Like, if you wanted phone time, like after school or whatever, you had to make sure that your homework was done, that you were a good kid, whatever, so that you could use that phone from 8 to 9, or whatever the time frame might have been, you know. But regardless, whatever. But anyway. Part of that, so basically what we're saying that to say is that we remember, you know, obviously that there were house phones, and then you can fast forward to cell phones. And then also we were the beginning of the social media era. So you had these apps, you know, back in the day, like you had like Zanga was like one of the.
Oh, I like Zanga. I like Zanga. Zanga was fucking cool, man.
I like Zanga too. I like Zanga too.
Shit to come back. No,
I don't. That was one of the first places I ever really felt like I got play, or I was getting some play.
You got play. Like we had Zanga when we were like 11 years old.
It was.
You were getting play at 11 through Zanga.
Not at all. Nope.
This guy's stunting on the podcast. Yeah. I was getting some action from Zanga.
Let me stop. I was not doing anything on there. But
you were talking to some woman or something, because I don't know.
Do you remember? Do you remember? Like, you remember? Obviously, you remember messengers, AOL. Yeah, AIM.
Oh yeah. I remember having like a girlfriend on AIM that went to Westmere or something like that with me, and I fucking talked to her one time, like in person in my life, but on AIM I was dating her.
You're dating her. Yeah. Oh yeah. That, like, it was such a weird time.
Messages.
Yeah, oh my god. It was such a weird time. You know, you could have it was like, and we were all kids, like we were all so excited to be on this stuff. You know, like I think I had like a girlfriend in like New York or New Jersey at one time.
Oh, I did that before too, and I got catfish. I was like,
12, for sure,
and she was like 30. She was like 30.
And she was
really? I'm not even kidding. Well, this is I don't want to get into a wormhole here.
Yeah.
But
That's true. That's true.
no, it was on a like a chat site, and I was like fucking 12 or something like that. And I was like taking this shit kind of serious, and I had an online, and then one day, she had one picture, and then she sent another one, and she was like a woman, and I was like, ugh,
this is crazy.
this ain't good. Like close the computer, run out of the room. I'm like, fuck, if my mom finds out, I'm in trouble.
That is hilarious. She was the whole time she's like 25, something like that.
No, she was like 30 something, and she was not good. You. She was not good.
Oh, okay. But
it was not good.
Right, I guess we say all that just to
back on the point though. Back
exactly.
We're getting off topic here.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So for me personally, whatever. The social media thing, since we came up with social media, it's always been kind of like a new thing. It was like I still remember when it was new. So I remember spurts in my life where I was like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit longer to get on Facebook. I'm going to take a little bit longer to get on Twitter or to do this. I still to this day have never really had an Instagram. I had an Instagram for like a skit page with some friends like a long time ago. Other than that, I've never had a personal Instagram. Will I have one day? Maybe, but it's one of those things where it's like the social media kind of thing it's like it sucks you into the phone so much to where it's like, yes, I have taken breaks. Now I haven't taken a break in a while. I haven't taken a break, honestly, since like 2019, like I was saying before.
Yeah.
And it's been a while. The most that I do now is obviously when I'm working or during the daytime, I keep my phone on do not disturb. And I hate that I turned into that person. Like, obviously I could just like turn the notifications off. But one thing that I can't stand is that when my phone's on D&D, there's a lot of times where I forget to check it. But it is nice because I'm not getting these notifications from these other areas that's going to keep me constantly looking at my phone. But that's the closest thing that I have to a break right now.
Yeah, I don't at all take breaks. I feel like I'm on social media way more than the average person, and and it comes it comes off a certain way, and like Tessa's giving me shit before, like, oh, like you're always on Twitter or something like that. But 90% of the time, I'm gonna say it at 90. I'll say there's times I might like scroll on TikTok, some videos just to like kill some time.
For sure.
But like 90% of the time, I post fantasy football content for myself. I post content for all sports for the brand Fantrax that I'm a huge piece of, and I'm always on there posting like videos and graphics and data drops, like all this stuff. So I'm on social media all the time, and you have to keep up because I run the Fantrax account, but I'm not just pushing sports stuff out on Twitter. It's on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok,
all these places.
And it's like you have to keep up with it. So I'm on it nonstop. But I will say that as much as I'm on social media, and I truly believe this, I don't fucking look at shit. I don't look at anybody's stuff. Very rarely do I look at anybody's stuff. And people will be like, how can you be on an app and not look at people's stuff? Because I literally post and I get out. And it's not like like oh, like I don't care about nobody. I'm not trying to, stunt here. I don't care about nobody else. I'm in my own lane, like all this stuff. But I kind of am. I just really don't care. And I feel like I used to care a lot. I feel like I used to scroll and see what everybody's doing and got, I gossip with people about, oh, did you see this? Did you see that? I just don't anymore.
It's work for you, man. It's a business.
It is. But the big piece of it for me is it's just become a habit that I just don't spend time. Like my free time,
it's good.
I'll do something else. And it's not like, and I feel like sometimes when I say shit like this, it comes off like, oh, he's trying to like sound like a motivator or some shit. No, I just don't.
No.
I think I've just grown at this point where I just don't give a shit. I feel like my guys, Martin, Anthony, Chavez, you go down the list of like my Colin, like my actual good friends. I know what's going on with you guys for the most part because I make sure that I try to keep up with my people, and I got my own household here with my wife.
Exactly.
And we have 2 kids. We have another kid coming. I got my family right down the road. I just have grown just out of habit to just not give a shit. And I hope everybody the best. I hope everyone the best in the world. I just don't care.
Exactly. And to keep up with the people that are really in your life, you shouldn't need to be on social media to keep up with anybody that you're friends with or that you're in a relationship with in real life. Like I'm not going on social media to see what's going on with my cousins or you know, anybody close to me, my friends, anything like that. I will text you, I will call you, I will see you in person at some point. Like, I'm not checking for anything, and there's nothing else that anybody else really has going on that's that fascinating to me. Obviously, you got to obviously getting on there, you know, to just get, you know, if there's good content that you like and you want to indulge in some of that, okay,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Or if
For
there's
sure.
good topics, you know, if there's like a good debate on the internet, stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
obviously that's great. But yeah, more so, you know, back to what you were saying, you know, obviously it makes sense that you operate that way on social media because this is a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so, like, you know, you being on social media the way that you are, it is a job. And it's like, I feel like people that don't use it, you know, for a stream of income, you know, it's like they look at it in a different way. It's just like, okay, this guy is,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like this guy's like kind of on always on here. How does he not see this or see that? They don't really see the bigger play. It's like, no, I'm on here because I'm working, you know, like I'm trying to reach goals and to reach milestones in the field that I'm in. And that's, but you know, the only people that really understand that are people that understand content. There's still a lot of people out here that don't even really understand how all this shit works, to be completely honest. Like,
For sure. I'm not going to knock anybody for being on social media, and I hope I didn't come off that way, because I got tons of people.
I don't think you did. I don't think
Okay,
you did.
good, because I got tons of people that interact with like my content on a daily basis, and I respect them. And if I'm looking for something, you know, information on something, I think the internet's a great source, and I think for entertainment purposes, it's a great place to be. If you're like, I do a bunch of fantasy football stuff. If you're a fantasy football fan, go to Twitter. I mean, there's endless stuff there.
Got to be on Twitter, man.
Yeah, I think the big emphasis where I was kind of getting at is the need that people have to keep up with other people's lives. I think content's one thing, but I think like worrying about what's going on in everybody's lives, like I think some people take it a little too far sometimes, and they get so consumed in other people's lives that they're not putting enough effort into their own lives or their own situations or their own circumstances or the people in their lives. I think that, you know, when I said like I don't care before, it wasn't like I don't care about other content creators, or I don't care about you know people getting promotions and stuff. It's not that. It's just like I don't care about random people in like high school that, you know, what they're posting necessarily, that I don't really even talk to anymore. Like, power to them. Like, I'm not trying to say I don't respect what they're doing, but I'm just saying, like, I don't feel the need to keep up with everybody else's lives, because I feel like sometimes that takes away from you focusing on your own circle.
Yes, and it's like, you know, got to be clear in this era that we live in, because, you know, obviously you're in the fantasy football community, like big time. There'll be a whole bunch of there'll be guys with secret animosity and like, oh, Nick Skrip, he thinks he's better than everybody else. They're writing these think pieces. He doesn't look at any of our content. This guy's an asshole. He thinks he's better than everybody else. But yes,
that might be true. That might be true. But not better than everybody else. The asshole part. But go ahead.
To clarify, that's not what you meant. You guys can relax. This is a good guy.
I think it's just the keeping up with everybody else's lives all the time. Because again, if that's what you like to do, I'm a huge proponent of do what you want to do what entertains you, and do what makes you happy. Absolutely. But I'm just saying, when it comes to social media, I just don't feel the need, just being someone that's busy, just like everybody else is busy, but don't feel the need that with enough going on in my own circle that I got to like worry about what's everybody else, you know, doing in their lives all the time. And I think a lot of people fall victim to social media in, you know, spending more time focusing on what everybody else is doing and less time focusing on what they are doing and what the people in their like household are doing and things like that. You know, that's all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you on that one, 1000%, man. And it's like, I got people, you know, around me that got stuff going on in real life. You know, the social media stuff, it takes up too much of your time. And you know, I guess to wrap part of this up is like, you know, you just, man, you gotta spend less time on your phone when you can. It's like, I like that for you. I like that you post and then you leave for the most part. I like that.
Yeah.
Because somebody that's on the internet as much as you are, you definitely have to take those kinds of like like mentally, it's like, yes, post that, make sure it looks nice. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Because you got a million and one other things that you're doing, you know? So it's like you gotta
Same with anybody else.
yeah. That's true. No, that's true. But you know, you got a regular job, and then you know, you got these social media platforms and the coaching and stuff like that. I mean, give yourself some credit, man. You bust your ass. That's you know.
I think a lot of people do at the end of the time, but
a lot of
beyond the
people
point.
do.
But I think I'm with you there at the same point. But
yeah, give yourself a pat. I'm trying to get you to give yourself a pat on the back.
Nah, never,
you know,
never.
Give yourself
never.
a pat on the back sometimes, man.
Never. I can't. No, I appreciate it though. I appreciate it. Social media, obviously, interesting topic. Huge piece of my life. Huge piece of a lot of people's lives.
Yes.
It just kind of differentiates the approach to you know, time spent scrolling, time spent consuming this and that. I got a random question for you. Going to the next topic here.
What's up?
And I'm trying to spice it up a little bit here.
Okay,
spice it up a little bit. So we talked about loyalty and, you know, a lack of loyalty, how people can, you know, view that as toxic, right? Toxic. Social media at times, people can view social media as a toxic place. So I kind of want to piggyback off of, you know, that word toxic. What's something toxic that let's do a story time here. Give me a time you were very toxic in your life, and I hope it doesn't get you in any trouble or anything like that.
No, I look at the end of the.
I can tell stories too, but I'm gonna be very careful with them. But you go first.
Look, it's stories at this point. You know, we're adults. You know, we're adults. We're in our early 30s. God, you know, we've obviously we've lived life. You know, we've had a life thus far. It's okay. We can have conversations about, you know, other things
live on the internet.
yeah, live on the internet for everybody there. You know, I feel like yeah, you definitely toxic. I feel like most toxic moments in general for people usually come after like some type of like transition. For most guys, you know, I feel like wait, no, wait, I like that.
No, all right. Go ahead. No, I don't know where you're going with that, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I'm not gonna interrupt you. Go ahead.
No. You good. Go ahead. But you know, transition. So like a breakup, for example. You know, I feel like, you know, if you break up with a person, you have some wild moments. So I guess
absolutely.
You know, the story, you know, for me is like breaking up, and you know, you get a little wild. You go outside more. There was that at one point, there was a time that I was juggling some girls.
Physically in your arms,
without
my God, yeah,
with this He-Man level strength. No.
Juggling some girls. All right.
Yeah, it's like you know, you're outside, you're having fun, and it's like you get to a point to where it's like you're kind of entertaining you know, women, multiple women, and there's been some points to where I was definitely, you know, juggling women. And, you know, kind of dating a few different people at the same time, sleeping with people at the same time, or within, you know, the same, whatever, like same, it could have been the same friend group. There's stuff like that. It happens. And then, you know, at one point I've had a situation where it was like a couple of these girls, you know, found out what was going on. You know, and yeah, I felt like a scumbag. You know, obviously.
So wait. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
We're brushing over some details here.
No.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't want names.
I'm just trying to be vague. I'm trying to be vague.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not ever get into too many details.
For sure.
We need some details here.
Yes.
Question.
Ask
away. How do said group of females find out that you're talking to a group of females? Like you had to slip up at some point with that, or they were friends or something.
So at one point we all worked together.
Look, you and the people you were like juggling.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
this was a while ago. I was probably like, I don't know. I was
You're
probably
like, I
like
was probably like 28,
20.
29, 30. No,
No,
no, no, no, no. Okay.
I was probably like 20 or 21,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
20 or 21, working a job at like one of these fast food places. I don't want to give too much away, but yes, like these people very much in close proximity with each other. And yeah, kind of all friends hanging out, here and there, or had like other friends of friends.
Yeah.
And yeah, people talk, and at the time you don't really even necessarily realize that you're being like, I mean, yeah, like as a kid, like at that age, you're just so excited to be you're just so excited to just be getting some play. I'm trying to think of the nice way to say it. You're just so excited to
Getting
be
some
getting,
play. That's safe. That's
yeah,
very PG like 15 right there.
yeah, like you're excited that that you actually have women and have people around you that like you in that way or
I
whatever.
mean, it's a good feeling to be like, especially in your circumstance back in year 2021, where you're like, holy shit, more than one person likes me
Yes.
at the same
Oh yeah,
time.
exactly. And then it's like, and
It sounds good. I mean, I'm speaking for you. I'm just speaking for
oh
you.
no,
But yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. And because I was never, I was definitely never really one of these dudes that was just out here going crazy. I've had moments, but that was probably one of the crazier, moments or whatever, because it's like I didn't mean to like be a part of the reason why your friend group broke up, or a reason why these people aren't friends anymore, because I was being kind of an asshole. But these types of things happen, and it's just stuff that you go through when you're young, and just having. But yes, overall, when you look back at the stuff that you're doing, you're like hiding your phone text messages and stuff like that. You don't want to, you're being shady, you're meeting people over here trying to make sure the other people aren't going to be there, and just all this other random stuff. And it's just
uh,
like
all
it's
right, all
not
right,
good.
all right. Now, without digging too deep here,
It's toxic.
how long did this go on before you got caught up? And when you got caught up, did it just all explode from there? I mean, again,
Oh,
no
dude,
specifics, but like, did
no,
was this something that was going on for like a week, 2 weeks, a
dude,
month, a
probably
year,
it.
and what happened?
So I shit you not, this was probably maybe a month, maybe a month and a half, not even
All
that
right,
long. Not long at all. You know how it is. It's like when you're
no,
but any
no, no, yeah,
when you're doing dumb stuff at that age, it's
yeah,
like it seems like, oh yeah, this happened and I was doing this and I was doing that, and it's like in reality, like that happened over the course of like 2 weeks.
yeah.
Like, for whatever reason, our brain kind of like, I feel like when you get a little bit older, we kind of imagine these time frames where it's like, okay, yeah, no, like I was talking to this person for like super long, and that all happened over a long period of time, and in reality this was like something that happened over the course of like literally 1 month. Literally 1 month. And at the actual time, I probably only worked at that place for, it was maybe 6 months.
Okay.
Like, which is interesting, like at that age, that's like very much the point
Wait,
where,
wait a second. Well, you said 6 months at the place, and this
yeah.
happened for 1 month. One divided by six times 100. So 16.66% of the time you were talking to multiple employees at this place. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, just like, and it's at that age you go through those moments where we've all had like weird jobs, and like jobs at stupid places, when you're kind of at that age where you might stay there for 3 months, you might stay there for 6 months, you might stay there for a year, you might stay there for 2
Yeah.
years, but it's just like you kind of bounce around like in places like that. So it's like, when I think back on this, it's like, yeah, the situation that I was in, yeah, it was definitely stupid and very childish, but it was a very, very, I guess, uh insignificant moment, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, I suppose. But that was a toxic
So you were toxic.
toxic
So you were
moment,
toxic.
for sure. I would say so.
I will say that when it comes to a moment like that, I'd say a majority of my time, I wasn't a huge relationship guy ever. I was in a couple, that were of some significance, but not super long term ever. There was probably a few ever that were like long term. So I'd say a majority of the time that was kind of like my that's what I was trying to like be like,
Yeah.
probably from like, again, 18 to, I don't even want to, I gotta be careful, to a certain age, I was kind of
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
I can relate to that. And it was toxic. And that was just kind of like, personally, that's kind of like all I knew for most of my time, like up into this point where I'm like completely settled and all that. So I know that comes with a lot of toxicity and being a little iffy as a person. And you reflect back a little bit and you're like, man, I probably did some people bogus, and I probably wasn't the best person ever,
True.
and I probably was immature at the end of the day. Like
Absolutely.
I can reflect back to many times of being in the same shoes of you, like many times, and being like, like, this
You don't.
probably wasn't the best thing,
No.
the best
Don't
thing.
feel.
But at
It
the
don't
time,
feel
it
good.
seemed, but always at the time, 20, 21, 24, whatever it was, it seemed cool, seemed cool.
Well, dude,
Felt cool.
see,
Felt
dude,
cool.
this is one of the exactly. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
That's all I remember.
Like,
That's all I remember is like I look back and I'm like, how did I do this back in the day? Where it was like a few things going on all at once, and then I look
yes,
back and I'm like, at the time I thought I was like the fucking man, but maybe I really
exactly.
wasn't.
Like
I don't know.
the mature thing is like when you look back on those moments as an adult is just like, okay, that was terrible behavior. And it's like, how was I even moving around like that? That just seems so much work, like it's just exhausting. But the one thing, the one thing that we kind of forget when we're thinking in that way is just like, nah, that was kind of fun. But but I'm not
Probably.
but when you're
I don't know.
when you're around your guys and when you're with the guys and you're just kind of talking shit, it's like, yeah, nah, that was kind of fun. That was kind of
Yeah, I mean,
I was out
like
here.
we're talking like on this podcast, we're talking about like 10% of what we probably would if we're bullshitting over beers or whatever. But
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I think a lot of my I don't have like one instance. I think a lot of my toxicity growing up was in such that I agree, relate to that a lot, but also like very like alcohol induced, and it wasn't ever in the sense that I was ever I was never in my life, not even one time, like abusive or mean to people or like all this stuff. I just think that like there was just times where I was toxic because I had some drinks in me, and then I took something from level 1 to level 100 too fast, and I reflect and I reflect back. Like I can think of like times where someone said something small to to me or somebody else at a bar, and I went from level 1 to level 100. I think about times where I was feeling a type of way about, a situation with me and a friend, and I had some alcohol in me, and I took it from 1 to 100. I think about times where, I was out somewhere out. Like, what did you say before? You said, I was outside. Like that's your
outside.
I was outside,
Mm-hmm.
had some drinks in me, and I'm like, you know what? I've been thinking about this situation. I'm about to take it from 1 to 100 in a good way.
Oh, for sure.
Like I think that most of my toxicity was like my, going from 1 to 100 too fast. And again, it's never been like, oh, I was like this sort of way or that sort of way, like negative. I think it's kind of just funny sometimes where a lot of my stories of where people would give me shit like, dude, you were like, you did too much with this. You did too much with this. You did too much with this.
For sure.
I'd be like, oh man, it was because of having a little bit too much of that. And I think that comes with maturity is like,
absolutely,
hopefully getting away from that. I'm trying to be better about that. I think I've been gradually better because I think back in the day, I've been like way, I was way worse about like having a couple and then like out of nowhere, everything I was thinking was about to just fucking like, come out flying. I think about the MGK song, like I forgot what, I'm not okay. He's like, what does he say in that song? He goes, watch me take a good thing and fuck it all up in one night. Like that was like me all the time, just because of being like toxic with like letting everything come out all at once, just because I was like feeling pretty good that day.
That's true. And I feel like, especially at that point in life, everybody has a bunch of alcohol alcohol related stories where you kind of get crazy. It's just kind of something that happens, like something there's alcohol in your 20s, your early to mid 20s. You're always going to have those kinds of moments. Like they go hand in hand. It's like shoes and shoelaces, you know. It's you can have shoes without shoelaces, so never mind. What the fuck
Nick, it was Nick and doing too much in a night, and
exactly.
and it could have been a lot of things. I think a lot of, if you're listening to this, it could be like, oh, this guy was like trying to fight everybody, or this guy was like trying to like mac up on everybody. I don't know. It's probably a mix of all those things
for sure
at some point. But I think most of the toxicity came from just, I don't know, doing too much sometimes,
getting a little crazy, getting a little crazy. Wild boy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like, and then I'd like, I distinctly remember like, like having like interventions with like my brother and my family a couple of times where they like sat me down and they're like, do you know what happened last night? Like this happened, and like we saw you do this, or this happened. Like, why are you doing this? And I just be sitting there like, fuck, like I don't know.
Even calling it an intervention is hilarious. I'm not even gonna lie.
That I for sure have had like two with my family where they're like, you're doing too much. Last thing on the podcast here, then we'll wrap things up. You wrote this one out, so you gave this to me. So I was thinking you had something, but bad habits. Is there any bad habits that you have that you're trying to kill off right now? You come to a new year. We just finished through January, and everybody's got goals and resolutions and all that shit.
Yes.
But there's things I think that at our age that we just recognize as hey, this isn't good. I got to stop it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad habit. What's something that comes to mind for you?
For sure, procrastination. Procrastination is that's still definitely one of those things that I struggle with, and that I'm trying to, as I get older, it's like it's tough to continue to try to get on these routines, but you just gotta try to get up and do it. That's it. And you got to try to start out doing things, little by little, that are going to make you want to get whatever it is that you need done. Procrastination has always been, one of my biggest weaknesses. But I feel like talking about it and, acknowledging that I have an issue with that is one of the biggest things that I can do, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's going to help me in the long run with trying to figure out how to defeat the procrastination monster. Or whoever it is. That's one of the bigger ones. I also feel like at some point I would like to become a morning person.
Oof, that's
like at some point I would like to become a morning person. Like you're a total morning person. Like it's dope that you're able to get up at 4 a.m. Go to the gym and then do all this other shit. Like, look, you can't reach me at 4 a.m. Even if there was a fire.
But you can't reach me at like 11 p.m. because I'm fucking dead. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
But that is different. That's different though. That's more reasonable. 4 a.m. is a little early, obviously. But but at certain people, you shouldn't be able to reach after 11 o'clock, And I just feel like with waking up earlier in the daytime, I feel like there's just, you just leave yourself with just more time to get stuff done. You can get more stuff done. You can be more prepared in the morning. Like I'm definitely still the person that, like I get to places on time for the most part, but it's like I'm running out of the door everywhere that I go. It still kind of feels very much like that. And at some point, I feel like in adulthood, you kind of got to get to the point to where it's like you kind of can just coast to whatever it is that you need to do because you were prepared. You had the preparation that you needed to take to get to wherever it is that you need to get to on time. So that, I don't know. I mean, those are two key ones. I would say those are two key ones I would say that I'm trying to work on right now. What about you?
Yeah, I think one that comes to mind is trying to like conquer the world every single day. So like that sounds like ridiculous, but I feel like there's times, I think having the anxiety all the time that I have to like do a million things and that I'm not doing enough for something makes me do a lot of stuff, and it actually
Yeah,
like low key motivates me to like do a lot of shit. But I feel like I keep trying to accomplish everything in a day. I try to right now I'm thinking about hey, I made this graphic earlier. I really should push out a video on it tonight before I go to bed. And I feel like
mm-hmm.
that's just like that's something that like can help me in a certain way, because I feel like it makes me work hard and like do things, but I feel like I fucking never am at ease. I feel like I'm always anxious that I'm not doing enough when it comes to a lot of different things. And I feel like I'm always feeling like I need to do more, and I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And I think that, you can say it's anxiety, but I think it becomes a bad habit of trying to do too much in a day. And I think that there's, times where it is a benefit that I try
For
to do
sure.
a lot, but also I think there's times that it can get fucking exhausting. Like I
Mm,
think this week's been so crazy for work. I've been like pushing out a lot of content this week as well. I'm trying to be a good dad, a good husband, like all these things. And even like with my windows of free time, I'm not like playing Madden. I'm not like on, watching TV. I'm not
mm-hmm.
scrolling on my phone. I feel like I'm just like doing the next thing. And I've even like worked from home a lot this week, which is something I really don't usually do. But I just feel like it's becoming a little bit of a bad habit to like try to conquer the world in a fucking day,
Yeah.
and I think for me, I don't know. I think like right now, like this week, the last like 2 days, I've been like not myself. I think I've been like super mentally and like kind of physically exhausted. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it takes a toll at some point. And it's a bad habit of like doing too much and not like saying to myself, like, yo, like tomorrow's a new day.
Right.
You can do stuff tomorrow. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to do it tonight. You did enough today. And I think it's become a pretty bad habit of mine.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I could definitely see that. Yeah, you have like a fucking motor, that's for sure. You definitely have a pretty crazy motor. I feel like, yeah, obviously, oh shit, excuse me. Obviously,
Yeah, you're good.
that has a lot of pros to it, because honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like people that are kind of wired like that, I feel like it breeds success,
Yeah.
within a lot of people. But at the same time, yeah, you definitely have to, be conscious of that, and don't burn yourself out. You got to take the breaks when you can, take it
Yes.
easy. Definitely, like that has to be key. you know
Yeah.
um you gotta try to just shut down. And whether if that means taking a break from, whether if it's posting on social media, or if it's just obviously taking a day with the fam to, and I mean,
Yeah.
you spend plenty of family time already,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or maybe you need to go on a fucking vacation. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Something, like
Something,
even like Tess the last 2 days, she's like looked at me and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And she's like, "Something seems wrong." And I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, "Man, you know what? I think I just be doing too much shit." And I'm just like not, I'm like I hit a wall at some
hmm
point.
oh yeah,
And I think
yeah,
I think a lot, and that doesn't just go for me. I'm not trying to ever sound like fucking special. I think a lot of people kind of feel that sometimes of where you kind of overdo yourself
for sure.
and you burn yourself out, and you get to the end of a week and sometimes it impacts everything else. Like I shouldn't be like so tired, at the end of the night when I could be spending time here hanging out, or I shouldn't be in a mood because I'm just like checked out and I'm just like done, for the day.
Got
Like I
you.
shouldn't be those things. But
I'm
I
with
think
you.
I think that's something to take away. Some people can take away is like you got to monitor at the end of the day, like not burning yourself out. And that can go for a lot of people with a lot of different jobs and a lot of different environments. And it's not specific to me at all, which is a big piece of the show, is trying to, talk about shit that other people can relate to.
Relatability is key, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like that is what a lot of people should be able to take away, because the shit that we go through on a regular basis, or stuff, that the events, things that done in life. It isn't anything crazy. It isn't anything anybody else like isn't dealing with, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I
All right.
feel like it's dope. It's always a good conversation to have. And yeah, hopefully it helps.
Yeah.
I like the video that you made the other day, by the way.
Which one?
The what was it? 17
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Tests don't like me talking about it anymore. But it went like, I wouldn't say viral, but it got on TikTok. It got like almost 22,000 likes and almost like no, I'm sorry. It almost got 22,000 views and like 2,000 likes. But
Nice.
it was cool, and it was cool because obviously that meant people related to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think and man, dude, I'm telling you, like a lot of things, talking to the youth, I feel like is a big thing, man.
Mm.
And not to say that that's like, not to say that that's, not to say that it's everything, but I feel like we have I feel like we owe it to the generation, under us to kind of let people know some of the things that you go with or that you go through or that you could be dealing with as a man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? As a man and growing up and the things that may come about. I feel like that information is very important. And yeah, it makes sense that it got a lot of views because obviously, we're kind of in this space right now where it's like, people don't necessarily want to be kind of like vulnerable about things or share
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah.
Sharing knowledge, like that's like the key. And I felt like you dropped a lot of knowledge in that. I feel like you dropped a lot of gems, and I feel like there was so much that people could fucking take away from it. So
There,
if you
there,
haven't
there,
if you haven't watched
there,
that, you got to go check it out.
Yeah, there was like a handful of women in there that said, I'm I'm not bullshitting, you can find it.
Yeah,
They
sir.
said something like I have to raise my sons, and I shared it to him. And that made me feel a type of way because it was just something I was thinking about driving to work one day.
For
I'm like,
sure.
this would be a good video. And the fact that there was like a handful of women out there that it sounds like they're like single moms,
Oh
whatever,
yeah,
and
for sure.
they don't maybe they don't have like a male presence in their life or their sons'
And
lives, and they're
yeah, it's
like,
important.
I'm sharing.
Oh man.
You can look at the comments, like so many people said, I'm sharing this to my sons, and at the end of the day, like
Yeah. Shouts to the
that I
single moms. Shouts to the single moms, man.
yeah, for sure, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't make a dollar though. At the end of the day, it's cool to like get a lot of views and likes, and I like that. But when you walk away from something, you're like, damn, like a lot of fucking people like this, and a lot of people took something away from it. That makes you feel a type of way, and
Absolutely.
literally, that's the whole fucking intention of this podcast. Like, if you're tuning in at the end here and you haven't seen the other episodes, like go check them out. The entire intention of this podcast is for this to be something hopefully relatable, something entertaining, something
Exactly.
that like could take you away from everything else. Because we come on here and we're just like, it's real talk. We're uncensored, and we're bullshitting to an extent, but we're also kind of talking about some decent topics that I don't know, could be something that people again relate to or want to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that's key. And yeah, I definitely feel like, since you started the show, I feel like the message is getting across. And yeah, it's definitely going to be something that's going to be dope to continue with and see how it goes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any closing words for the people of the world here listening?
Um, man, no, not really. Not really. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Nick, for having me again. It's been fun. Definitely enjoyed doing this show with you, week after week, man. It's been dope. Um, fuck, man, tired. I want to
Yeah.
get some rest. Dry
Yep.
January is over with. I'm gonna get drunk this weekend. That'll be nice.
There you
But
go.
other
There
than
you go.
that, that's it, man. Just
All right.
like, subscribe, click here, click here, click here.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you were listening at the end of this or at any point and you liked it, all you have to do is literally, on iTunes, subscribe, on YouTube, subscribe, and check out the other episodes. I think a lot of people are looking for something to listen to on the way to work or on the way back home from work every day. And I think that this is something you can listen to and give you some entertainment and some things to talk about. But that's it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stick to the script. We'll be back at it next week.